All right, y'all. Back in another video. Uh, Alonzo doesn't get traded, right? I felt that there was a distinct possibility that he wouldn't, and we go get some wing support. We trade JJ and Nico Melli. Uh, Honestly, I'm not gonna miss either one. Uh, I didn't really care for either one to still be here because the games are heavily lacking. Even though I do like them personally, I like JJ and I like Melly. I just don't care for either one on the court right now. Um, Look, it is what it is. Sign and trade, sign and trade, sign and trade. Um, Unless they do this maliciously, I don't see any other option this summer than sign and trade. And by malicious, I mean Rich Paul's like, okay, they're not going over 22. Hey, Chicago, offer 23 or 22.5 and you heat yours. Basically that's what it is. Um, he's not playing tonight or tomorrow, according to Griff. So there's that. Griff gave his excuse parade. I mean his press conference today, and I'm so sick of hearing this nigga talk like dead ass. Like I'm so sick of hearing him talk because every time he talks, it just sounds like okay, let me spin words around and say a bunch of shit that don't really matter and pass it off as a statement. They asked him about Lonzo. Well, Lonzo said he wants to stay. Okay. I mean, what else is he supposed to say? Uh, well, we've talked. Lonzo isn't the type of player that's going to talk publicly and everything. And he's not the type that's going to pay attention to the stuff that's said, by the media and the articles. But me and Lonzo have had one-on-one talks about, him being traded in the media and the articles. Oh, like for real, my nigga? Like, yeah, I caught your double speak. He does that all the time. Griff likes to talk about this family matters shit, and I'm just of the belief that you can't trust shit this nigga say. Uh you can't trust shit that nigga say. I'm sorry. Now, at the end of the day, I would love if he could stay and play with Bi and Zion. And I said that in my other video. The problem is, I would like for him to have a bigger role. I don't think he's going to get a bigger role. Matter of fact, hear me out. Because I know Griff touched on this that, they're going to try to insert Nall into the starting lineup over Bledsoe. Watch for who they run plays for. Hear me out. Bledsoe still gets offense ran for him, right? Zoe really don't get offense ran for him. If you take Nickeil Alexander Walker and put him in for Bledsoe and he starts getting plays ran for him, mad disrespect. Mad disrespect. And I expect Lonzo to look into like, all right, y'all, during offseason. We gonna see what happens. Now, here's the other thing that was funny. Griff kind of talked himself into a corner. On one hand, he was like, okay, it's important to know, that you let your corner franchise pieces in on anything that you plan to do deal wise and and everything like that. But he was like, he didn't come and talk to them about any trades they made or were going to make for the team. And Coach Jason Maples, shout out to him, by the way, he made a very good point here. He didn't say that shit because he actually believed that shit. He said that shit because he knew Zion and B.I. were going to be like, no, do not trade Zoe. Do not trade Zoe. So that's why he didn't do it. But yet he's like, I know that they trust me to, do my job and all that other stuff. That's all he does, man. That's all he does. Like and I made this post and I was being funny, but this is literally how Griff is. You can be like, "Hey Griff, is the sky blue?" Well, the sky being blue depends on the depth perception of your iris. And if your iris perceives that the color is blue, then the sky is in fact blue. Um, but that does not mean that the color of the sky is blue all the time because of the depth perception of my iris is different from yours, so I might see green. And that's how he answers fucking questions. It's like, really, can you just answer the goddamn question and quit doing this mental gymnastics, my nigga? Like, for real? But whatever. All right, cool. So they traded them to the Mavs. They traded JJ and Melly to the Mavs, right? And we got back James Johnson and Wes Iwundu. Uh, Neither were getting played on the Mavs, so it's not like we have any inkling of what they're really capable of. We're just gonna have to see, and what this rotation is gonna look like. Now they're still gonna be playing Bledsoe and stuff, but the question is, okay, how do you build the lineup? Do you go back to playing Josh Hart at the two, which is where he should be, and you start inserting James Johnson and Wes, or what? I don't know. I don't have any information on these two so that I can give you guys. I have not researched. I have not looked. All I know is they said West has like a 7'2" wingspan, something ridiculous, something gargantuan. That's ridiculous for like a 6'6", 6'7" player, something like that. I think it's his measurements. But I mean that'll help, I guess. But can a nigga shoot too? I don't care so much that okay, you play defense, great, but when the ball is kicked out to you, can you space the goddamn floor? The second unit is usually Nikhil, Kira, Hart, Zion, Willie Hurt, and Gomez. Let's just assume that they're going to start playing now in the start lineup, which means you're going to have Bled, Kira, Josh Hart, Zion, and Willie Hurt Gomez. How are you going to divvy up those minutes? That's what I'm curious about, right? I'm not sure that either of those guys are going to get a ton of play, if I'm being honest. There may be some lineups. Maybe he decides to go to him. He places Lonzo out there and just let Lonzo get some run and rest Bi and Zion together, and then it's just kind of like Lonzo, Josh Hart, James Johnson, Hayes, and West, or something like that to that extent. But I don't know how he's going to formulate this. Like I said, I don't really have a whole bunch of information. I don't even know if the niggas can shoot. But they got to do something. Like, they got to do something. Now, the one thing that Griff said that I thought was incredibly astute, I don't want to just bash him the entire video. He said Zion played, guard his entire career, basically. And so his mindset is like that of a guard. And so you shouldn't think about him or play him like or think of him like a traditional forward. You should think of him more like a guard. I think that's accurate. I think that's honest. I think he was telling the truth, and I think he's right. I truly believe he's right on that. I think he should be played like a guard. I think he should view things in a guard's mindset. However, I don't think you should put him in a box and say that's what he should be for his career. What I believe is you should expand him to cover or do as many things as possible. Remember, versatility, versatility, versatility. You always want to be as versatile on the court as possible. That's what makes Lonzo so good. That's what makes guys like LeBron so good. KD, Kawhi, all these guys, Steph, all these God tier level players can do so many different roles on a team. James Harden. James Harden can play off ball too. He can play on ball too. He can play point guard. Okay? Various skills, various abilities. You want to have that in your players. I don't want to box him in as just simply a guard, even though I got to say something. As a guard, if you play him like a guard, he now becomes a guy who you got to play him kind of tight. Because here's the thing, even though he can't shoot, if he gets ahead of steam, you're not going to want to take a hit from him. So you kind of want to slow him down to help at the point of attack so that your center can get a good like angle of force or affect the shot. You can't really play off ball on him. If this was like a Lonzo from like 2 years ago, yes, you could do that. You could just be like, go ahead, take your shot. We'll wait. Zion is like, no, you got to put bodies on him. You got to stop his momentum. So he, by virtue of being a point guard, spaces the floor, which makes it a little bit more easier for everybody else to play. And that's good. But long term, he has to be able to do more. He has to be able to understand how to play it like a true conventional power forward. Even if he's not doing it the entire game, he has to have some level of ability to do it so you can flex him there and you can give yourself another advantage or matchup problem on the court. At least remember, this is my take on it. You know, a coach may come out and say I completely disagree with Jay Strokes. That's fine. You know, but in my eyes, I want him to be able to do multiple roles. For instance, most of us, I think we agree, want Brandon Ingram to start at the two guard, right? Versatility. I've seen Ricky G, shout outs to him, say that he thinks Brandon Ingram should be running point guard. I could see why he would say that. I just don't think that his skill set is anywhere near that of a point guard. I don't necessarily like his decision making, like over an extended period of time. I don't mind him having a possession where he's the point guard on plays during the game. That's fine. But like the entire game, no. As this pertains to Zoe, Zoe's out tonight. Griff said he'll probably be out tomorrow too, which is fine. Heal up, rest up, Zoe. You know, you don't want to jeopardize your contract. Get healthy. Um, they're gonna need him. I don't care how good this group is playing. Uh, unless they go undefeated, which I doubt that's gonna happen because they play the Nuggets tonight if I'm not mistaken. I don't think they're gonna go undefeated, but they're gonna need Zoe back. Zoe's shooting is going to be missed in the tough matchups. You know, Kira hit 3 of 5 the other day, but Kira's shooting like 25% from three, and his jump shot is nowhere near where Zoe is. They're gonna need him back, man. I'm sorry. Like I like Nah in the start lineup. One of the things I suggested. Uh, you could look at starting Josh Hart, but there are too many guards that they try to play. Really, they need to get rid of Bledsoe, but there's no way to do it. If they buy him out, they basically gotta buy him out this year and next year. That's a lot of fucking money. And you're basically freeing up a roster spot, but you're basically having to pay the player anyway. That's counterintuitive. So his contract becomes better next year at the trade deadline when he's only got just the rest of that and then he's a free agent. Or you could say he's a 1 year deal, he's a 1 year rental, see what you get out of him, dump him at the end of the year. What's going to happen is they may put him on the bench and he's going to get a reduced role, and it's going to harm his value. If it harms his value, it's already a bitch to trade him right now. It's going to be harder to trade him this offseason, even with the 1 year rental. So you have to play him. I think the key for them is they want to keep Kira around 15 to 20 minutes. Now they want to put up to about 26, 27 minutes. And you keep just about everybody else the same. No JJ, great. They didn't get back, another true guard. Um, so they lost the one guard that they weren't playing anyway. But you still got a guard problem. You still got too many. Like, Nas the true shooting guard, so he should be playing shooting guard. I ain't got no issue with that. But you got Kira, Bled, and Lonzo. And even though Bled has played, let's be honest though, Bled has played point guard this year. Zoe has played two guard. even on the defensive side, they tend to put Zoe on a bigger guy. Unless it's someone who they really need to shut down. They do it because Bledsoe cannot guard. He's 6'2". He's matched up on a 6'6" guy. He's giving them 4 inches. They're just going to shoot over him. You got to put Zoe there. Okay? So, it's again, you don't, just because you play a position doesn't mean that's what you guard or function as on the court. You know, Zion plays 4, but he's actually playing the 1 on offense. But he's defending 4s on defense. Or in some cases, 3s. Um, so ultimately, man, I don't like this roster going forward. I mean, I get it. We got wing support, which we needed. But I still don't like this roster. Maybe if I go look at these guys, dig at the film, I can, convince myself otherwise. But just looking at the names, I'm just like, no. And you didn't get anybody in the trade deadline. And Griff was like, oh, yeah, you know what? I messed up. I fucked up by not getting enough, defensive versatility. Nigga, y'all didn't have this shit last year. If y'all followed me on Twitter last year, I was saying the problem with the Pelicans is the Pelicans do not have the ability to guard big front courts. And they literally got swept by every team that was a big front court. They cannot guard big front courts this year. But what's killing them most is stretch fives and shooting guards that can play small forward. Because you have to play Bled, who is giving up. Like, Lonzo is oversized, which is good for his position. But you're playing Bled at the 2, so he's undersized. So they're offsetting each other. It's not enough. Now, that's why in the closing lineups, Zoe Josh Hart is pretty good. Even the Zoe null lineups has been pretty good. But Zoe Bledsoe is not it. You got a guy like Zach LaVine, who Lonzo really shouldn't be guarding. He's not big enough. He's not athletic enough. Well, Lonzo has to take him because Bledsoe has to take Kobe White. You would prefer Lonzo to lock up Kobe White and have somebody else on Zach LaVine. You don't have that. It is a matchup bitch. That is why those guys like Zach LaVine, those shooting guards that can flex the small forward, have been brutal. Along with the stretch fives. They have tore our ass a new one. Now, I know you're going to say, well, you kind of lost to the Joker you beat the Joker the other night, so that ain't always true. Look, shit happens. It's okay. It's okay. They lost to the Pacers. They beat the Pacers. Who was the most recent stretch five they played outside of that? I'm trying to think. Dallas murked us, but that's what Dallas is supposed to do. They got the unicorn. There was another stretch five we played, and I can't think of who the fuck it is. This is gonna bother me. Anyway, I said this before the year. Stretch fives is gonna be a problem. They have been. I don't know what else to tell you, man. We lost to OKC. That was another one because they had Al Horford. That was the other one, or one of the other ones. It is what it is. We don't have defensive versatility is an issue, but it's not the main issue. There's a bunch of little things. Like I could make a laundry list of at least 10 things defensively that I have an issue with, but I'm not gonna do that. The main thing is, look, Griff's a bum. He's a bum for this damn mental gymnastic bullshit he tried to pull today. They didn't get anything done for Lonzo. And I think they could have made a trade for Lonzo that would have benefited the Pelicans, be it with Chicago or some of these other teams out there. But I know what he was doing. He was trying to gauge prices so he could figure out what they could do this offseason. We'll see what happens. I don't know if I'm going to watch this game. I may watch it because you know what? I might watch. I think I'm gonna probably watch this game. I may not watch the entire game, but I'll watch at least some of it because I like the Joker, and I kind of want to see what they do and adjust to the Pelicans now that trade deadline is over with. And I don't think they're gonna have AG tonight, but I want to see how they play them now that they got a taste of them last week and what adjustments they make. Um, but anyway, that's all I got. Y'all have a good one. Peace.